What if the life you're living, every joy, every sorrow, every encounter, was not random at all? What if you chose this path long before you ever took your first breath? Long before your eyes opened to this world, your soul stood at the edge of eternity. With divine awareness, you chose this incarnation not as punishment, but as purpose. In this video, we'll explore the sacred signs that reveal your soul's deep agreement with life itself, and the higher calling hidden within your earthly journey. There is a timeless weight in your gaze, a silence between your words that speaks of something far older than the years you've spent on this earth. If you've ever looked around and felt out of sync with the world, wondering why others are caught up in things that don't stir your spirit, it may be because your soul has traveled a path far longer than this one lifetime. From an early age, you may have noticed your thoughts drift toward questions most people never ask. Why am I here? What's beyond this? Who was I before this name, this body, this time? These are not questions of curiosity, they are the stirrings of remembrance. You feel older, not because of your experiences, but because of your essence. You may find yourself instinctively drawn to ancient symbols, philosophies you've never studied, or wisdom that feels familiar even when it's new. That resonance is not coincidence, it is recognition. In the realms beyond this world, before your birth, your soul reviewed the tapestry of time. You chose the threads of this incarnation not blindly, but with deep intention. There were lessons left unfinished, energies left unresolved, and you returned, by choice, to walk through the fire once more, not as punishment, but as purification. The depth you carry, the empathy that overwhelms you, the sense that you're watching life while also participating in it. All of this points to a soul that has lived before. And, in choosing this life, you carried that inner compass with you, a quiet force urging you towards something greater. It's why you've often felt like an old soul in a young world. You're not lost, you're remembering. And as you awaken to the truth of who you are, the feeling of being out of place fades. You realize you are not here to fit in. You are here to fulfill something timeless, something sacred. You chose this life not because it would be easy, but because your soul was ready to grow deeper, shine brighter, and help others remember too. There is a distinct difference between suffering that breaks you and suffering that transforms you. If you've lived through pain that seemed to carry an unseen message, if your darkest moments somehow whispered of purpose rather than despair, then your soul may be echoing the wisdom of a choice made long before this life began. When struggles arise with such frequency and depth that they seem orchestrated rather than random, it is often a sign of soul design. In the spiritual realm, before entering this life, souls often agree to experience specific challenges. These aren't punishments, they are opportunities. Sacred trials chosen for the sake of expansion, healing, and remembrance. You may have found that your heartbreaks didn't just hurt, they awakened something in you. Perhaps a loss cracked you open and led you to rediscover your strength. Perhaps a betrayal pushed you to finally draw sacred boundaries. Perhaps loneliness forced you to reconnect with the divine voice within. These are not ordinary outcomes. These are the markings of a soul that chose the path of fire, not to be consumed, but to be refined. There are moments when the weight of your struggles feels disproportionate, when you wonder why others seem to walk lighter paths, yet something within you continues. There's a force, a knowing, that each hardship is not the end of the story, but the doorway to something deeper. This is the soul in motion. It remembers what the mind forgets, that you are not here just to survive, but to evolve. As the cycles of challenge that repeat in your life, the same type of partner, the same emotional wound, the same internal war, may feel frustrating, but they are sacred invitations. Your soul is not punishing you. It is insisting on your transformation. You didn't come here to remain untouched. You came to break open so that something divine could pour through. The sacred text of your life isn't written in moments of ease, it's carved into your soul during the seasons of struggle. You've likely sensed this, even without fully understanding it. After each hardship, a deeper compassion emerged. After each fall, a new clarity rose. The lessons weren't just intellectual, they were cellular. That is the sign of a soul who came with purpose. And though the human part of you may resist the pain, the soul within you bows to it. Not because it enjoys suffering, but because it sees what suffering births. This is why your struggles have always felt meaningful. Even in your lowest valleys, something sacred moved beneath the surface. Your tears weren't wasted. They were offerings. Your loneliness wasn't abandonment. It was a sacred cocoon. The pain didn't define you, it initiated you. This is not to romanticize difficulty, but to reveal its divine architecture. You are not a victim of fate, you are the bearer of a contract written in light, agreed upon in love, and carried out with. Every scar you bear is not a sign of weakness, but of remembrance. You chose this life, and in doing so, you chose the struggles that would awaken your soul's deepest truth. You were never meant to merely survive. You came here to transcend. Have you ever met someone and felt an instant, unshakable connection, as if your souls recognized each other long before your eyes ever met? No logic could explain it. No history could account for the depth you felt. These are not random encounters. They are echoes of soul agreements made before birth, threads of divine memory weaving their way back into your current life. Long before you came into this physical world, your soul stood in the presence of others. Together, you made promises, not with words, but with energy. You chose to meet again, in different roles, in different bodies, for the sake of growth, healing, love, and sometimes karmic resolution. These unexplainable connections are sacred contracts. They serve as mirrors, showing you the parts of yourself that still need to waken, evolve, or be set free. Sometimes these connections bring overwhelming joy. A stranger becomes a lifelong friend, a brief encounter shifts your entire direction, or a partner awakens a level of intimacy and remembrance that transcends the physical. Other times, the connection comes through pain, a difficult relationship that forces you to confront patterns, heal old wounds, or reclaim your power. Whether harmonious or challenging, these people are not here by accident. They are soul companions, some kindred, some karmic, but all essential. Their presence in your life is purposeful, even if their time in it is temporary, and deep within, your soul knows this. It's why, even after someone leaves, you feel their imprint long after they're gone. That lingering energy is the residue of the agreement fulfilled, or sometimes still unfolding. These connections may challenge your understanding of time and identity. You may feel as though you've known someone for lifetimes, and you likely have. Across different incarnations, the soul travels with a circle of others, playing different roles in each lifetime. A parent in one life becomes a child in the next. A lover becomes a sibling, a rival becomes a teacher. These shifting roles are not meant to confuse you, but to teach you. From every possible angle, through these interactions, your soul gains wisdom, empathy, and wholeness. That deep knowing you feel when you look into someone's eyes, the sense that something ancient stirs between you, is your soul recognizing the eternal nature of your bond. You may even notice patterns among the people you attract. There's a reason certain dynamics repeat with different faces. It's not that you're doomed to relive the same pain. It's that your soul is giving you another chance to respond differently, to choose growth over reaction, compassion over fear. These soul connections are the sacred catalysts of your evolution. They're not here to complete you, they're here to reflect you, to trigger your remembrance, and to support your journey back to your truest self. So when someone enters your life and everything in you awakens, your heart races, your intuition surges, your past rises to the surface, pause and listen. That person may be part of your soul tribe, The connection may be mysterious, but its purpose is divine. In every unexplainable connection lies a reminder. You are not walking this path alone. You are surrounded by souls who remember you, love you, and walk beside you. Not just in this life, but across all lifetimes. And it was you who chose to meet them again. From a young age, before you even had the words to express it, you may have felt a quiet pull, an invisible thread leading you toward something deeper, something hidden just beyond the veil of ordinary life. While others were captivated by the surface, you sensed the depth. You may have stared at the stars and felt homesick, though you couldn't explain for where. You may have felt an unspoken connection to the moon, to the trees, to old books or forgotten symbols. This wasn't fantasy. It was soul memory. Evidence that you came into this world already carrying the imprint of lifetimes past. Children who have chosen a spiritually significant incarnation often carry a sense of otherness. They feel the world intensely. They ask questions no one around them seems to understand. Questions about existence, purpose, the afterlife, and the nature of love and truth. If you were one of those children, you may have found solace in solitude, comfort in nature, or awe in the invisible. You may have had vivid dreams, strange coincidences, or even moments of déjà vu that felt more like sacred echoes than mental glitches. These were the whispers of your soul, reminding you, you are not new here. You've returned. This deep pull toward the mystical is not merely interest or curiosity, it's a form of remembrance. Before you were born, your soul chose this life with the intention of waking up, of reconnecting with spiritual truth in a world that often forgets it. To ensure this awakening, your soul left breadcrumbs, signposts hidden within your being. The fascination with the esoteric, the longing for the divine, the aching for a truth beyond what's seen. These are those signs. They are proof that you planted within yourself a map home. And while others may have outgrown their childhood wonder, your longing only deepened. You may have been drawn to ancient wisdom traditions, metaphysical teachings, and spiritual texts long before you could fully comprehend them. It's as if something in you knew exactly where to look for the light. That knowing is not intellectual, it is spiritual. It's the language of the soul, speaking in symbols, sensations, and silent certainty, even when the world tried to mold you into its shape. This part of you remained untouched, quiet but unwavering. As you've grown, you may have discovered that this mystical pull isn't a phase, it's a path, one that leads you inward, to the eternal part of yourself that remembers who you are and why you came. The world may label it as strange or overly sensitive, but you know the truth. It's sacred. That longing you've felt your entire life is not a flaw. It's a compass. It's pointing you toward your soul's contract, your chosen mission, your divine remembrance. You did not come here to simply exist. You came to awaken, and the mystical pull you've always felt is your soul's way of keeping the promise it made long ago, to never forget the light, even while walking through the shadows. You chose this life, and you chose to remember. There are moments in life when everything you thought you were crumbles. Your name still stands, your body still breathes, yet inside, something has ended. Something essential, once certain, is gone. If you've experienced a time where the ground beneath your identity gave way, where all attachments dissolved and meaning itself seemed to vanish, then you've touched the sacred threshold of symbolic death. This kind of death doesn't come to end your life. It comes to end the illusions you've carried within it. It strips you of false roles, outdated beliefs, and borrowed dreams. It leaves you empty, not to destroy you, but to prepare you for the truth of who you truly are. And while such moments may feel like breaking points, they are in fact points of awakening. Souls that chose this life before birth often build these moments into their path, predestined turning points where the self must fall apart so the soul can rise. You may have experienced this as a sudden loss, a betrayal, a collapse of health, a spiritual crisis, or an inexplicable darkness that descended without warning. To the outside world, it may have looked like a crisis, but within, it was an initiation. It was the moment when the life you built with your mind was surrendered to the deeper life your soul came to live. This kind of death cannot be explained or planned. It arrives when the soul is ready, when the lessons of the false self have been exhausted and the soul's light can no longer be hidden beneath layers of performance. It is the sacred undoing, and you are not alone in it. Many who walk a soul-centered path go through it, often more than once, not because they are cursed, but because they are chosen, by themselves, before time, to become something greater than the ego could ever imagine. In these moments of inner death, you may have felt completely alone, as if no one could understand the depth of what you were losing or what was being born. That isolation is part of the process. It separates you, not to abandon you, but to purify you. It's in the silence of the soul's dark night that you begin to hear the voice of eternity. All the things you once clung to, titles, relationships, opinions, ambitions, are revealed as impermanent. And from that revelation arises something eternal, a presence, a knowing, a light that has never flickered, even in your darkest hour. That is your true self. That is the part of you that chose this life, not to be admired or successful, but to be real. You've died without dying, because your soul knew you would need to let go of what you thought you were to become what you really are. You've walked through fire and emerged, softer, not harder. You've lost what was never yours to keep and gained what can never be taken. You've shed the mask and seen your original face, the one that was there before the world told you who to be. That is the face of your soul, and in every symbolic death you've endured, your soul has breathed a little freer, loved a little deeper, and remembered a little more clearly. You are not here to live a life of safety. You are here to live a life of truth. You chose this life, and even in your endings, there was purpose. Even in your breaking, there was beauty. Because nothing real can ever be lost, and what is real in you was never born and will never die. Beneath the noise of everyday life, beneath the doubts, the chaos, the heartbreaks, there is a quiet presence within you. It doesn't speak in words, yet you hear it. It doesn't flash in signs, yet you feel it. This deep inner knowing that you are being guided is not a product of wishful thinking. It is the sacred memory of your soul whispering through the veil of this physical life, even in your loneliest hours, even when the path seemed dark or uncertain. Something within you refused to let go of the sense that you were not truly alone, that something greater was holding you, shaping your steps, watching over your becoming. This is not imagination. This is divine orchestration remembered. Before you were born, your soul chose this life with clarity and purpose. It did not choose it blindly or enter it alone. You came with guides, beings of light, wisdom, and compassion who walk beside you. Some call them angels, others ancestors, spirit allies, or higher self. The names matter less than the truth they represent. You are supported beyond measure, and you have always known this. Even if the world taught you to forget, this knowing may have first emerged in childhood, in moments of stillness when you felt wrapped in something vast and loving. It may have surfaced in moments of great danger or grief, when help arrived through impossible synchronicities, when answers came through dreams, symbols, or sudden clarity. It's the calm you feel when you should be afraid, the strength that rises when you're about to fall, the peace that floods in, uninvited, reminding you, you are not abandoned. This guidance does not always come in the form you expect. It isn't always a voice or a vision. Often, it's a pull, a subtle nudge in your chest, a soft turning of your attention, a gentle unease when you veer off your soul's path. It's the serendipity that places the right person in your path, the book that falls off the shelf, the stranger who speaks the words you needed to hear. This is how the divine speaks. Through the language of resonance and rhythm. Your life is not a random unfolding. It is a sacred map, and your soul holds the compass. Even when your conscious mind is confused or in despair, the deeper part of you remembers the way. You've likely felt it in moments when everyone told you one thing, but your soul told you another. And when you followed that inner voice, though it made no sense, you later realized it led you exactly where you were meant to be. That's not coincidence. That's alignment. It's proof that the guidance within you is wiser than any external opinion, more ancient than any worldly rule. You chose this life, and in choosing it, you also chose the support system that would walk beside you. This guidance will never force, never punish, never abandon. It will only wait for your stillness, your trust, your willingness to listen. There is great power in this knowing, because once you realize you are not wandering blindly, but moving with purpose, even through confusion, you begin to walk differently. You begin to trust the pauses as much as the progress. You begin to see meaning not only in joy, but in challenge. And you begin to understand that every step, even the painful ones, were placed on your path with love. You are not lost. You are led. And that truth is not something you have to earn. It is something you are here to remember. You are guided. You are protected. And above all, you are never, ever alone.